you like to know why I bought an Indian and not a Harley? Let's talk about it. It's Fastlane. So contrary to popular belief, I do not hate Harley Davidson. If you watch any of my videos for a while, you know from time to time I like to poke fun at Harley riders and, you know, kind of make fun of them and stuff. It's all in good fun. I actually have a lot of friends who ride Harleys who love them. And to tell you the truth, I love Harley Davidsons myself, and I have almost bought one a number of times. Now, this isn't a video about how my Harley Davidson dealer here locally mistreated me and didn't acknowledge me, and so I acted like I had no money, and so I walked out and I went to the Indian dealer up the street, and you know, they met me with rose petals and you know, gave me gifts and a big sloppy kiss and a latte. Actually, they did give me a latte.
Wow.
But it's actually the opposite. Our local Harley Davidson dealer is actually fantastic. Willamette Valley Harley Davidson is a fantastic company. I love the owner. I have several friends who are sales staff there. My band has played there a number of times, and I think they're a fantastic dealership. On the contrary, we only have one Indian dealer in the entire state. They are up the road in Salem, about an hour and something away. And to tell you the truth, they're kind of, I'm not crazy about those guys up there. I kind of felt like they were cheese balls when I talked to them. They seemed sort of unhelpful, wouldn't let me test ride a bike because it was raining outside. And man, I was full on ready to buy an Indian that night. And they lost the sale because they wouldn't let me ride the bike. And let me just tell you this. I'm not buying a bike if I can't ride the thing, okay? So this isn't a video to hate on Harley Davidson or their dealers or anything like this. This is simply to tell you and explain why I chose an Indian over a Harley. Now, there's a lot of choices when it comes to motorcycles out there, and especially cruisers. We've got Honda, they've got the Rebel, which I've actually got one right back there. They've got the Shadow Phantom. You know, we've got the Yamaha Bolt. Triumph's got a sort of a bobber bike, and it just goes on and on and on. There's a lot of companies that actually sell cruiser type of motorcycles. So what makes Harley Davidson and Indian stand out as the top two in my mind? Well, when I first started looking at bikes and I was thinking I was going to upgrade from the Rebel, my very first thought was Honda. And so I began to look at the Honda Shadow Phantom. The bike's around $7,000, maybe $8,000, somewhere in there. Matte black paint, very low, very mean looking. It's actually a pretty cool bike, and I don't disrespect anybody that's riding a Honda Shadow Phantom. I think they're very cool. The problem is when I left that dealer, I went down the road about a mile to our local Harley Davidson dealer, and I walked in and I saw the Iron 883. Yep, the Sportster Iron 883. $89.99 was the price tag. Matte black, low, mean, cool looking bike. Totally just bad boy rebel bike. So I quickly realized that I could buy a Harley Davidson. Yeah, get that badge on the tank for $9,000, just a couple $1,000s more than a Honda. And I was like, yeah, I'm not, when I upgrade, I'm not buying a Honda. Now, I have no problem with Honda. I think they're great little bikes. They're pretty much bulletproof, and I love the little Rebel. It's been a very nice little bike. But when I was looking to upgrade, I thought Harley Davidson. So let's talk about Harley for a minute. They are the iconic, the Americana of motorcycles. American made, the bad boy, the rebel, the tough, the scary, the mean. Harley Davidson is the most customizable bike in the entire world, with the Sportster being probably the king of them all. There's more parts for Harley Davidson bikes, and especially the Sportster, than any other motorcycle in the entire world. If you want to customize your bike, anything you want to do to that bike, you can do it. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of bad customization that goes on, and you know, you don't have to put every part that's out there on your bike. Like if you've been to any of these bike shows and you see the tent, and I'm not gonna mention any names, I don't wanna make anybody mad or anything, but there's parts companies that sell parts for these bikes that honestly, they're really cheap and they're kind of tacky, and yeah, just because you put a ton of that stuff on your bike doesn't make your bike look good. Matter of fact, I think some bikes look better stock than with a bunch of cheap crap all over them. But that's just me. You, do what you want to do. I have no problem with it, man. Not my business. So on the other hand, Indian Motorcycle has a very, very small aftermarket. There's just not that many parts out there. You know, you've got brands like Roland Sands Design, which I think is a fantastic company. They have some really cool parts. How you doing, Roland? What's up, man? Yeah, there's some other companies as well. There's some companies that make seats, saddlebags, and things like that. But honestly, if you ride an Indian, you're probably gonna buy a lot of your aftermarket parts, if we wanna call them aftermarket, from Indian themselves. So why an Indian? They have less aftermarket support. There's less dealers in the state for service calls and such. There's apparently some terrible dealers. And honestly, they're just not a newer brand, but being with Polaris, they are a newer brand. And we all know what happened with Victory there, where they just kind of disappeared. So why in God's name would I buy an Indian? Well, I gotta tell you the truth. I was pretty much dead set. I was buying a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I thought, there's no way I'm gonna regret buying a Harley. So actually, some of my decision to not buy a Harley came from my Harley dealer, and I will tell you why. This statement right here, you're too big for that bike. Now, this is something we all hear a lot about people who try to go in and buy a Sportster, because I was just gonna buy a Sportster. I wanted to spend about $10,000. And when I went in and I sat on a Sportster, the salesman there said, man, you're too big for that motorcycle. They instantly pointed me over to the Street Bob, which was about $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more. Yeah, I wasn't looking to spend that kind of money. Now, I think the Street Bob is an amazing, amazing machine. I think it's a beautiful bike. I wouldn't mind having a Street Bob, not at all. And I wouldn't mind having a Sportster. I like Sportsters. But they pointed me towards a Street Bob and said, you know, kind of made me feel bad that I even wanted a Sportster. So my local Harley dealer, they didn't mistreat me in any way, shape, or form. But the statement that I was too big for a motorcycle really did turn me off, because we gotta let people ride what they wanna ride, man. If you're 8 foot tall and you wanna ride a Sportster, ride one, man. I mean, we got guys riding Honda Groms, that little Kawasaki thing that's like a Grom. It's like a 125 little green thing. And you know, like the Honda Monkey. We got huge people riding these bikes. And you know why they ride them? Because they're a whole lot of fun. It's not because they look so size appropriate on these things. Ride what you want to ride, man. And come on, Harley, let people ride what they want to ride and stop discouraging them. If they want a Sportster, let them buy a Sportster. Now, there's another mentality that goes around in the motorcycle community. It's not just necessarily Harley Davidson, but it does talk about the Sportster. And it's this statement: the Sportster is a girl's bike. I think that is the most ridiculous statement in the world. Number one, a girl's bike is any bike that a girl wants to ride. I think it's I'm gonna rant for a minute, okay? Just bear with me. A girl's bike is any bike a girl wants to ride. I think it's an incredibly sexist statement to demean, a person about a bike, demean the bike itself, and say it's a girl's bike, that only girls should be riding that. You know what? There's some girls that are far better riders than you or me, that are far more bad and more hardcore to the bone, and probably ride a lot better and a lot more than you do. Okay, rant is over. I'm glad to get that out of my system. There's also this statement that a Sportster is a great starter bike. That mentality needs to go away. There's people that ride Sportsters for years and years and years, and they exclusively ride Sportsters. It's not a starter bike. It's actually a really cool and a really fun bike. And some people don't want a bagger, and some people don't want anything bigger. They don't want a Softail. They actually like that style of a bike, whether it's for, bopping around town, bar hopping, commuting back and forth to work, or to travel across the United States or around the world. It's really none of our business what people do with their bikes. It's up to them. Let them get the bike they want. A couple years ago, Harley even had a program where you could buy a Sportster, and in a year when you wanted to upgrade to a bigger bike, they'd pretty much zero the thing out and you could just move right into a new bike. I think that's a weird, I'm sure it was great for some people, but it's like you're selling a bike telling somebody this isn't really what you want. But you just get this for now, and then you can move on to something that you really should be riding later on. Come on, man. Some people don't want to move on to that. Let them get the bike they want. I just find it funny that the bike they push you towards is another $5, $6, $7, $10,000 or more. So what's really the motive there? Is it really to get you on a bike? Because they guise it as, well, we want you to be happy with the choice you make. You know what? I don't think anybody gets a Sportster. I mean, there's probably a few people, but I think people have a lot of fun on Sportsters, okay? If they're smart enough, let's give people some credit. They're smart enough if down the road they want a bigger bike, I'm sure they can figure out how to sell the thing or trade it in and get a different bike, okay? Let's give people a little more credit. And chances are, if that's the bike they chose, when they go to get another bike, they'll probably come back for another Harley Davidson. So, come on guys, chill out. So how did I end up with an Indian? Now you've heard me tell you how great I think Harley Davidsons are, and I do. I think they're fantastic bikes. Well, this is how it went. Indian had a demo day. I got invited up to their demo day. So they get the trucks out there, the factory reps are there, they got all the bikes out there. You can ride any bike you want to ride. So I rode multiple bikes that day, and I couldn't wait to ride the Indian Scout Bobber. I thought it was such a cool looking bike, and I just was like jonesing, man. So when I finally got on that bike, it felt like the bike for me. It felt like hand in glove. I loved the looks, I loved the style, I loved the sound, the feel. Everything felt perfect. It felt like my bike. Matter of fact, it felt so much like my bike, it took me 2 years to get one, but I couldn't get that thing out of my head. Now, along the way, I went back to Harley, I tried several bikes, I took them for test rides and such, and nothing felt right. I just never had that spark, that sparkle that just went, oh man, I need this bike. So the Indian Scout Bobber, for me, just had the right feel, okay? Number one, it had the right feel. Felt like the bike for me. It also had a super cool style. I loved the low, mean look, the sound of the pipes and such. Just was aggressive, man. It looked like some kind of like a panther waiting to pounce. And to tell you the truth, I like the individuality of riding an Indian. I've been to a lot of bike nights, bike shows, things of that nature. And when you go to those shows, I'm not gonna diss on Harley at all, but there's so many Harleys out there that sometimes they kind of start to all look the same. And I like to be different, man. I like to stand out, I always have. So for me, Indian was like a standout brand. It just was different. And that's one thing I loved about it. And it was the price. I wanted to spend around $10,000. Now the Indian Scout Bobber was actually a little bit more than that. It was like $12,000, $13,000. But I found one used, had upgraded pipes, upgraded intake, the Thunder Black smoke matte paint job, anti-lock brakes. 10 grand? The guy was trying to liquidate, man, I could not pass it up. This guy was going through a divorce or something. He was just getting out from under the bike, just wanted what he owed on it. And that's how I ended up with this bike. The thing didn't have a scratch on it. 1,600 miles, looked just like brand new. And the last thing I want to say is just to be patient when you're looking for a motorcycle. Now I know sometimes it's very, very hard. When you look at these bikes and they are amazing and you just can't wait to get out there riding, it can be very hard to be patient and wait to get a bike. Now, if you got plenty of cash and you feel like you can finance and you find the exact bike, more power to you, man. Go finance one, go ride, have a great time, enjoy it, live your life. There's no time like the present. I mean, tomorrow's not promised, maybe you need to get going today. But for me, just literally being patient really paid off, and I got a bike with a bunch of upgrades that I didn't expect to get, or if I did, I would have had to pay for them. Got it for like $10,000. I would have easily been paying about 15 grand for everything that bike had. And just patience paid off for me. So to summarize everything, I want you to do what is right for you. Stop trying to impress a bunch of people who you don't know and who don't care anything about you, okay? Don't buy a bike or ride a bike just because somebody says you should. Get the bike that you want. If it's a Honda, a Harley Davidson, an Indian, a Triumph, a Suzuki, a tracker, a cruiser, a scrambler, an adventure bike, a Grom, I don't care, man. Get a scooter. Get a skateboard. If that makes you happy, doesn't matter to me. But do what feels right for you. Where there's nothing more rebellious than thinking for yourself. All right, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can know when my videos come on next, and comment below. I know some of you are just itching to talk to me. You want to tell me what you think about me right now, don't you? Yeah, I know you do. I know you don't agree with some of this, so talk to me down below. Now, you don't got to be mean about it, but share your comments. I really would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions. I'd love to have really nice conversations with you. I enjoy the comments and the conversations I have with people. So comment below, man. We can be buds. We can be bros. We can hang out. We can chat. Tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what kind of bike you have. Whatever it is. I'm just happy to see people riding. I love motorcycles. I love the lifestyle. I love it all. There's not a bike I hate, I don't think. I mean, there might be one. I don't know. Comment below. Let's talk. Ask your questions. Remember, there's no stupid questions. There's just stupid people. It's Fastlane.